Okay, so we are now recording the lesson, just so that you're aware, and I'm recording the screen that's in front of you. Now, the first things first, there's obviously been lots of changes over the summer, and there are lots of things that we need to be aware of. The first thing, we are moving away from Frog. Okay, so the VLE system Frog, it is still there. It does still have most of my resources on. Okay, so there are going to be times that you as a Year 13 class might still need to access that Frog site whilst I'm in the process of moving stuff over. But we are now going to be doing all of our work through Google Classroom and a new Google site that I've set up for you. So the first thing is we need to be able to access our Google Classroom. So the first thing, I can see that a couple of you have already opened the Classroom, which is great. The rest of you, can you please click on Chrome and can you please open the Google Classroom? So Chrome is this tab here. Okay, it's that circle with yellow, red and green on it. And you're opening Chrome, and the first thing that you're doing is I have buttons on my screen to help me get to various different things. But what I would do is I would search Bishop Luffer, or I would just use the RM page and I would open RM Unify. So I've opened RM Unify. Once I've opened RM Unify, I have a tile in front of me called Google Classroom. Do you already have those tiles in front of you or not? No? Do you know how to access tiles? Do you ever get this type of screen come up when you log on to RM Unify? Yeah. Do you know how to put a tile into your Launchpad? Or do you just go there and search for it? It just comes up for you, does it? Just that's fine. So we won't worry. If it automatically comes up for you, that's great. James, are we all right? Yeah, all good. Tom, we okay? Okay. So first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to open my Google Classroom. I go into my Google Classroom, and you've got the various different classes there. And I know for a fact that you all have that Google Classroom. So if you go add app from library and type in Google Classroom in search. That's it, Jack. Or just type, yeah, and then just add, and then that will put that in your personal Launchpad all the time. So all you've got to do is just click on it. Okay. So Jack's just managed to add a tile to his, which is good. So Tom, I'll just wait for you to get on before I carry on. Aidan, you already in? Yeah, okay. Yeah. Right, okay. So I've got various different classes. You'll probably have various different classes that you access. I can see now my classes look massive, so I just want to take them down a little bit in size. So I've just used the zoom function to do that. And we're 13B/PE1. So you'll notice that anyone that's particularly observant that I've changed what our class is called now. I've just given it a new name. So I've opened that particular class. Now, two things that you'll see in front of you. We've got our stream where I put pieces of homework for you, where I put new information for you. And you should also have a tab that's called classwork. If you click on classwork, what I intend to do in there is put materials that we use. So over the summer, I asked you to start doing your practical coursework, which is 15% of your overall mark. And it was great to see that a number of you engaged with that and were doing it, okay, and were adding to their work. Can I just see a show of hands? And you're not on video, because the video is pointing towards me. Who has yet to start that process? Okay. So this first couple of weeks, we're going to be focusing a lot on getting that work started. There are some of you that are well ahead of the game. There's one person I think has done both those first two bits of work. Okay, so that's good that we've got people in that position. Those people that haven't got to that position, we need to start going through the material that I've placed on you. So in this particular section here, and it's labelled coursework, there are the materials that I shared with you at the end of last term. And I went through how to do this, and we did some lessons on this. And it was a live lesson as well, so you actually came into school and did this. I have put sample guidance on what we're doing. I have put a template for you to follow. And I've also given you samples of previous students' work. Now, pretty much you're all games players, so you're all going to be writing about a defensive skill in your sport, and you're all going to be writing about a tactical skill in your sport. A defensive skill and a tactical skill. Because attacking, only AS students write about attacking. So the exam board tells us it has to be a defensive skill. Will.
Just run through one of the tactical skills.
So corner, a penalty, a free kick, a throw-in, a set piece would be a tactic. It may be a pressing tactic that you use. Okay, so it might be, for example, you run through the Gengen press because you're a forward and you're pressing from the wrong side, so you're chasing down players, that type of thing. But you are all analysing a defensive skill and an attacking skill. And I'll come back to this in a few minutes' time, if that's all right, and I'll talk you through, because that's what we're going to spend some time doing today. The other thing that I want to show you now, and the reason that I've asked you to go into this morning, at the top of the page, I've put link to Google Sites, because I've created an all-new website, an all-new Google site for all of your resources. So all of my lessons that I teach will be on the Google site, okay? All of the resources that I give you, any materials that I give you will also be on the Google site. So it's our default site to keep going to. This will always sit at the top of our work. If I click on this one that says link, I get a message and I've got hyperlink. I would like you to click on that hyperlink, please. Could you go through that process now? So just click on the work that's under link to Google site, Jack, and then click on the hyperlink. Okay, has anyone not got that up? So the first thing, you'll see I made it nice and big. I can play around with how big it looks by clicking on these three dots, look, on the right-hand corner. So I click on those three dots, I can change the zoom, and I can change the size that it looks. The first thing you'll notice that I've put is welcome to Bishop Luffer. So this is a general welcome. I've put the course specification on there. You are going to need to refer to your course specification, particularly on the practical. You're going to need to check what it is that you can do and what it is that you can't do. And for those of you that are eagle-eyed, it's 101 pages. So it's huge. So you are going to need to refer to it. If you want to make it bigger, you click on the little box in the top right-hand corner that's like a square with an arrow pointing diagonally out of it. That will put it in a new tab for you so that you can view it. Underneath that, I've put a couple of other files, look. I've put one that says command words. Now, command words refer to these that are up on the wall, look. So we talked about our EverLearner roadmaps last year, and we talked about how we answer questions. Those are the command words and what they mean. So this keeps referring to the EverLearner. Course-specific vocabulary are the key words that the exam board is saying to us you must be using. So types of words that we're going to come across when we think about our joint actions that we thought about last year. Flexion, shortening of a joint. Extension, lengthening of a joint. Abduction, take away from the center line. Adduction, add to the center line. Rotation, turning of a joint. Circumduction, spinning of a whole joint. So for example, the arm, that would be circumduction, whereas that's rotation. Plantar flexion, pointing of toes. Dorsiflexion, bringing up of toes. There are other key phrases, other key words that we need to know. So I put that information there for you. And there at the bottom of the page as well, I've also embedded the EverLearner. Now, the EverLearner we keep using. That has to be our default all the time for recap, for retrieval, for testing, for understanding what's going on. Would you just excuse me one moment and just explore that page? Thank you. I'm not going to be answering that. Okay, so that's our default, that's our first page. At the top of the page, look, you can see some titles here in this top bar. It says Home, Textbook, Non-Examined Assessment. So what I'm going to do is, rather than go to Home, I'm going to click on Textbook. Now, Textbook, you can only ever get into this Google site through RM Unify. You will not be able to see the resources that I've put on here if you log in with your own personal Google accounts. You have to be an RM Unified to use this. Okay, so the textbook, as you scroll through, I've put 2 textbooks for you in here. Everything down the left-hand side of your screen is the Year 1 textbook. Everything down the right-hand side of the screen is your Year 2 textbook. And I put it in chapter by chapter. This was on Frog, but what I did is I put each chapter in each topic on Frog. Now I'm giving you a page that's got the whole textbook on. So that textbook is there to help you with your 5 to 15 and your VESPA, the idea of your systems, your practice. Okay, constantly being able to look at and reinforce your knowledge and reinforce your understanding. So that's textbook. NEA. If I click on NEA, that's non-examined assessment, you'll see that at the moment the page is blank. Why is that page blank at this moment in time? Where are the materials for the NEA?
On the classroom.
On the classroom. I will populate this page with the NEA materials as well, okay? But at the moment, we know that we're working on NEA, so it's actually in the classroom for you. Good answer, Jack. If you then click on the Home tab, you've got a little downwards arrow on it, and the downwards arrow indicates the 3 different topics that we study within PE. So we study physiology, which is about the human body. We study socio-historical issues, which was the historical work that we did last year, and then sociology in the summer. And we study psychology. Each of those topics is broken down. So in physiology, if I go to physiology, I've got another little downward arrow next to it. I click on that downward arrow and I get 3 subtopics. Applied anatomy and physiology, and that's like what the human body is. So we learned about muscles, we learned about the cardiovascular system last year, we learned about the respiratory system. We have exercise physiology, which is all about how our body responds to exercise, and lots of that is what we're studying this year. And we have biomechanics. And we're going to be doing quite a number of lessons on biomechanics. Have you yet got timetables or anything like that? Some of you have and some of you haven't. Okay, I now need you to write down what lesson is what for us. So I'm going to quickly go through now on video and tell you what lesson you're doing with me at what time. So can either write this in the back of the exercise book that I've just given you and then transfer it at a later date, or you can find a piece of paper or you can put it straight onto your computer so that you know what's going on. So on a Monday, week A, period 4, we're doing anatomy and physiology, and we're also doing it on a B week Monday, period 3. Annie, you okay?
Monday, period 4.
A week, Monday 4 is anatomy. Monday B week, period 3 is anatomy and physiology. Next lesson will be a psychology lesson.
We just go like A week and then do B.
Is it not better if I do it in pairs?
Anatomy, then the psychology, and then
Yeah.
Also just anatomy lesson.
So anatomy lessons will be on a Monday A, okay, and it will be period 4, and a Monday B, and it will be period 3. Your psychology lessons will be on a Tuesday, week A, period 2, and a Wednesday, week B, period 4.
That was psychology.
Psychology. Your socio-cultural lessons will be on a Wednesday, week A, period 2, and a Friday, week B, period 4. So that gives us 3 other lessons. So we've only done 6 out of 9. So your 3 other lessons at this moment in time are going to be your lessons where we're doing coursework, but actually what we're likely to do is a lot of biomechanics. So we want to bring our blue books for these. So this is going to be your coursework lessons. So your coursework lessons are going to be, so bear with me so I can read. Right, it's going to be week A, Thursday, period 5. Week A, Friday, period 3. And week B, Monday, period 5. So yeah, you get me twice on one day in a week B.
Week B, period 5.
Yeah.
The last one, sorry.
So it's a Monday, week B,
Yeah.
period 5, Aidan.
Right.
Now those 3 lessons are coursework lessons, but we're going to be studying biomechanics in them. Period 5, Annie.
So my quick guidance psychology one.
Psychology ones again. So your psychology ones, Will, are Tuesday, week A, period 2, and Wednesday, week B, period 4. Does anybody else want any clarification of those lessons?
Yeah.
Who's that, Annie? Which ones do you need clarification on? Well, that's why I did say writing it would be the best thing to do. Okay, so thanks, Jack, for sending it. Okay, so back to my screen. I said that I've got these 3 different topics. I want you to be able to see what's going on. So I've now clicked on physiology, and I've clicked on the first topic under physiology, which was applied anatomy and physiology. And you'll notice on the page, I tell you a little bit about what applied anatomy physiology is, and then I've put a button for you on there called the cardiovascular system. If I click on the cardiovascular system, it takes me to my page, which got what I need to know from the specification. It's got all of the lessons that I taught you on that topic. It's got self-paced learning, workbooks, sample exam questions, and answers. So I'll take you through that again. I've clicked on home at the top and the down arrow. I've clicked on the down arrow under Physiology Hub, and then I've gone to Applied Anatomy and Physiology. When I've clicked on Applied Anatomy and Physiology, I've found a button because it's the only button that I have on there at the moment, and I've clicked on the cardiovascular system. When you go through that page, you will see my lessons are there, all the resources that you need, self-paced work. There's peer review material on there for you to read to develop your knowledge and understanding. We're now year 13. We're moving towards those final stages in our education, where we move from being learners who are reliant on teachers giving them information, cognitive learners, towards being autonomous learners. We learn for ourselves. So as we mature, so the work is maturing for us. So there's a lot there that we need to find ourselves. So we become less reliant on being given everything. I will add buttons to this page as I start to get the work across. It takes me a while to transfer it. Okay, so buttons will be added. Let me click on another one that I added last night. Is the Socio-Historical Issues Hub. I'm clicking on that, and you'll notice that I've put emergence of sport in the 21st century. If I click on that, you'll see that straight away I've broken it down. It's got lots of buttons to guide me through, and I've put the specifications for that into place. So it's an opportunity now for you to look at that material, to review that site. Right, I'm just going to stop sharing for a moment. because I'm actually going to stop recording. And then the remainder of our lessons, ladies and gentlemen, today is going to be based on us accessing our coursework and continuing, if we've